Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at Life and In Between Podcasts. I am so thrilled and so excited because we're going to be talking about technology. I mean, some of us fear it, some of us embrace it, some of us are running away from it, and some of us are running towards it. But today, I'm going to be talking with Brett. Brett is going to actually take away those fears. We're going to talk about how we can embrace AI, how we can make it better, how we can make life easier. And I'm going to have Brett talk a little bit about his background history before we get into talking about his AI, which if I'm not mistaken, her name is Tess, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel to the moon, to Brett's side of the world, and I want Brett, if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, the man behind Tess?
Okay, Tess and Mobile Wise AI is the name of my company. Hi, everybody. I'm Brett Duncan. Been in the weeds for a long time with AI, and I think that AI is the future. Just to give you a little background of my life, when it came to my career, I started an ad agency back in 1995 doing commercials for cable, and I moved into doing infomercials. And the one thing that stood out in my infomercials that brought results, which is the bottom line, is testimonials. Word of mouth. Getting a second opinion on whatever it was that I was producing. So with that said, along came the internet around that time that, I'm hearing this buzz about the web, the World Wide Web, and I'm like, it was all brand new. And when I saw my first website, I thought, I'm not impressed. It's like it's just a brochure basically. No speaking, no video, no nothing. Well, of course, back then the bandwidth wasn't up to speed to do that. So when it was, I opened up a testimonial agency, Rave Biz, in 2002, and what I did is I would interview clients and put their video or audio testimonials on their website, basically, to get the conversion up. The biggest problem a website has, it would be in a perfect world, wouldn't it be great if you could get half the visitors to your website to do something? Well, the
Yeah.
truth is only 2 to 4% do. Okay? It's ridiculous. I mean, I call it the conversion crisis. Okay? And it's been my quest my whole career to fix that problem, with the websites, right? Let's get down, let's do it. So, anyway, with that being said, the testimonial agency did increase conversion, but the other equation you have to have is traffic. And for the most part, the people I was working with didn't want to spend money on traffic, so I couldn't get the data that I wanted. So with that chapter closed, and I semi-retired, and then AI came along. And when AI came along, I say that's the medium right there. If you could have an intelligent AI person actually be the liaison and be able to have video testimonials or videos or whatever else to help get you to the where the client of the website wants to go, then it would be a good thing. So that's basically what I've done. I've created a very smart next generation web assistant that more or less answers all your questions and leads you to wherever, whether it's a email or a pre-qualification, a phone call, whatever it is, she gets you to that point. Because here's the problem. Since 2002 to 2025, uh, the attention span has dropped over 80% for the average person. So, in other words, you only have 40 seconds to capture their attention. And the
Mhm.
average form on a website gets about a 70% abandonment rate, and that's because it takes too long to do it. Well, with Tess, she'll interview you instead of a form. She'll interview you and say, "Can I get your first name, please?" Great. And then she'll go through the whole thing. And for mortgage companies, that's huge because They're spending thousands of dollars on pay per click. So bottom line, I'm fixing a huge problem in the market, and that's conversion.
Wow, that's amazing. You're actually closing the gap. I mean, that gap that's there and that conversion. Whoa, I love that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. I mean, this is great stuff. I mean, you were there from the beginning to now, and you see the idea and what people need to do to
Right.
move ahead and move with the times. So, can I see Tess in action?
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. Let's see if we can share my screen with you, and let's take a look at and meet Tess here.
All right,
All
perfect.
right.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is Tess. Okay, well, I see the platform. Okay, I'm so excited. I'm gonna stay quiet now.
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Hi, I would like to know more about how AI can help get a higher conversion for my website. Can you fill me in on that?
Absolutely. AI can dramatically boost your website's conversion rate by turning passive visitors into engaged leads. For example, a smart AI voice bot can have a real-time conversation with your visitors, asking questions to understand their needs, overcoming objections with personalized video testimonials, and only passing qualified leads to your sales team. This means your team spends time only on prospects who are truly interested and ready to buy. In fact, businesses using this approach have seen conversion rates increase from 3% to over 12%, a four-fold improvement. It's like having a 24/7 sales assistant that never gets tired and always delivers a personalized experience.
How do testimonials help boost conversion?
Video testimonials are incredibly powerful because they build trust faster than any other form of content. Our brains process visual information 60,000 times faster than text, and we remember 95% of a message from video compared to just 10% from reading it. When a visitor sees a real person from a similar background sharing their success story, it creates an emotional connection that a simple text review can't match. AI takes this even further by instantly showing the most relevant video at the perfect moment, like when a prospect hesitates or raises an objection, making the experience feel personal and persuasive. Studies show that simply displaying reviews can increase conversion rates by as much as 270%.
I'm impressed. Anyway, just to give you an example, are you there?
I'm
Are
still
you
here.
there?
I am like I'm in awe. I'm watching this, and so I'm listening. Please keep leading, Brett.
Okay, well, you know what she was talking about. What Tess has, what I've developed, I'm aligned with another company that I use their technology, but my technology works for their technology, and how that works is she can literally on the web on a mortgage website or a lawyer website or whatever website like here's an example of a mortgage website. If you're seeing that on my screen now,
I do. I do.
she can literally do a pre-qualification interview. She can give you the latest rates. She can do all those things. And basically, let's look at what a mortgage company wants from their website. They want pre-qualified leads, people that qualify for a loan. And what they're doing right now, the average mortgage website has this just unbelievably 15, 20 question form that you're supposed to fill out on a phone because 80% of people use a phone to interact with the internet these days. So and remember when I told you earlier about the 40 that the attention span has dropped,
Yes.
so much, and now it's only 40 seconds. Well, how long does it take to fill out a form? And that's why you have a 70% drop rate. But if you have an AI, smart AI, next generation AI assistant like Tess, she'll actually interview you and get the questions just like somebody on the phone,
Hmm.
but more, personable because she can overcome any, let's say, she asks for your FICO score, and you say, "Well, I don't really feel comfortable giving that out," and she'll go, "It's okay. Everything is very secure, and will get you the best rates." She'll overcome it, that kind of thing. And let's say that they say, "Well, how do I know that you can give me the best rates?" And then she'll say, "Well, that's a good question. Here's some customers that have." Basically had that same concern. You can watch their testimonial, and boom, they can click on a video testimonial, or they can click on, communication center to make an urgent call, book a consultation, whatever. And also, she just has, she can do anything. Let's put it that way, that a
Okay.
human can do. So that's the bottom line.
Well, I love this because basically I know that when you sit down, and you made a really great point in the fact, like when you're filling out those forms, those tedious forms, if I have an AI bot, like this AI Tess, I have
Mm-hmm.
Tess sitting there just asking me the questions, and I simply answer, and she's doing all the hard work. She's like filling everything out, making it like automation, like it's automated. I'm like, how much easier is that? Because many times I can guarantee when I've called companies and I have to fill out those forms, I'm like, goodbye. I don't want to do this. I don't have time. And I close it out. But if I have that engagement, which I think is wonderful, if I'm sitting there talking to Tess and Tess is asking me these questions, it makes it so much easier. It doesn't seem as complicating. It seems uh, effortless. There is no effort there put in. So that's great. The other thing that I kind of caught what you just said was that I'm really digging what Tess is doing is the fact that you said that Tess will pull up the information of any objections that the person may have. She will
Right,
figure out a way to overcome those objections, pretty much like
right,
salespeople. But
right,
the thing is, she thinks faster, rapidly. I would,
right, right.
and it removes the human error element,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
exactly. And everybody's going to be skeptical. At the end of the day, she's not forcing them anywhere. She's overcoming, and because when people come to a website, they either need something or they're looking for information. But it depends on the website. These mortgage companies are spending gobs of money. Just to give you an example, this one mortgage company, I think it was Loan Depot, I think it is. Yeah, Loan Depot spend $250,000 a month on ad spend for Google Ads for pay per click, and they're getting a small percentage of leads from that. It's paying for itself, because of the fact that a mortgage loan is giving them 10, 15, 20,000 depending on the loan. But at the end of the day, if they could double their or triple their conversion, do you see how valuable that is for that company, if you will? You know,
absolutely, I do.
yeah, yeah.
I do see how valuable it is. I mean, do you have any other demonstrations to show, or we kind of does Tess have any?
No, I do. I have a new, and there's one other thing that, and I think I shut. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and stop the share right now.
All right, let's go ahead. Oh, fantastic. I can see you, Brett,
Yeah.
soon. You're going to be coming up. Oh, there you go.
I
All
can
right.
see clearly now. No, anyway. So what I one of the biggest things, other biggest roadblocks for a website, it's called the bounce rate. Do you know what the bounce rate is?
No, please explain that to me.
Okay, it's very important when especially on the mobile phone. In the last 2 decades, desktop has transitioned over to mobile phone.
Hmm.
80% of all acquisitions come from a mobile phone. Okay.
Okay.
So, and what does mobile phone rely on for bandwidth? It relies on a cell site, more or less.
Right.
Are they in a good area, bad area? So let's say they go and they go to a website. If that website doesn't load in the first 6 seconds, they lose 60% of those people. And if they don't see what they're looking for in that area in that time frame too, you've lost them. So my that's a bounce rate. So in other words, they don't even give your website a chance, you've lost them. And so what we've developed is tests will come up right away. You want tests to engage in your customers right away because it tells them that you care enough that you have customer service from the get-go. She's a customer
Mhm.
service rep. She's there 24/7, 365 days a year, doesn't get sick, can handle 10 people at once. She's there for you. So just to give you an example of that, let me see if I have that up right now. Do you want to pause the video real quick? Just pause it. What we've done to solve that problem is we put a splash screen up on the screen, as you can see. So what you see is Meet Tess, your personal AI smart guide, and she acts like she's talking, so the user knows that they're going to have a conversation. It's not going to be your typical AI bot, if you will. We've got something new here. We've got something that's going to interact with me, as a person. I can ask questions. I can get a response. Does that work for you? Does that what you get out of this?
Yeah,
Looking
I
at
do. I do. I mean, like if I'm coming onto a page and I'm like, oh, looks like I'm going to be interacting with, it looks like I'm interacting with someone. Like, oh my gosh, what is this? So yeah.
Right, exactly. So it piques your curiosity. So you have two options here: get AI help with tests, or join just browsing. So this is what this does. This buys you time as a website. So because if you're on your phone and you're seeing a spinner waiting for the website to come up, this comes up right away because this doesn't take up a lot of room, if you will, a lot of data. It doesn't balk like a website does. To load a website on a phone, you have no idea how much technology goes behind that. With this has a bridge. So this bridges the gap of having a nothing on the screen, if you will. So while you're making a decision, the website is loading in the background. So when you click just browsing, you'll be at the website. To give you an example, just browsing, Tess will come up on the website.
Oh, I like
Oh, right there as a button, and she's still talking, letting you know, hey, I'm here if you still need help.
right.
So she's right there, and so bottom line is, this will drastically lower the bounce rate because you're engaging in the user right away, and you're not waiting for a website. You're not expecting them to find what they want to find on your website. Tess will answer all their questions right away.
This is really great. I mean, I definitely see the benefits of a business owner that owns a business as you mentioned a little bit earlier, real estate. And I think this applies for any business because if you have a website, whoever's coming to your website, you want to capture them and capture their attention and avoid, get that bounce rate as you were talking about. You want
Right.
engagement, you want to capture them, pull them in, and whatever services that are being provided, you want to make sure that that person that's on that page knows about it. So I
Sure.
this is I so this really applies to any business. So let me ask you, Brett. Is there anything else you want to demonstrate? Otherwise, if you
No,
don't
no,
have,
this we've covered it. Well, the one thing I want to elaborate just a little bit on is, going back in the history of websites. When websites first came out, people were searching for a way to get more conversion. It's always been a problem with a website, and forms were the savior, the Hail Mary, and unfortunately, because of cell phones and a lack of, you know, uh, attention span, that has dropped just amazingly. I mean, the average form gets a 70% abandonment rate. Think about it. You got bounce rate, you got abandonment rate. What's left? No wonder a website only gets a 4% conversion. So, if you can solve those two problems, and we can get you two, three, four, 5 times more conversion, it's a win-win. That's the bottom line.
It is. I mean, I think right now what people are looking for is short and simple and direct. And Tess sounds like she is the direct face of the company at that moment and to get that person engaged. So this is really great. This is really great stuff. I am totally digging this and I can see how business owners and businesses can really benefit from this. I'm wondering a kind of, and I'm just going to ask you just a few questions if you don't mind, because
Sure,
you're the brains,
please.
and I'm kind
Fire.
of like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about this, but I'm learning
All
along the
right.
way.
Mm-hmm.
I when I go in to websites, there's always this little chat, little button, these little bots that pop up. Can you tell, you know what I'm talking about? Those little chat
Yep.
assistants that, kind of, what's the difference between that with Tess?
Well, and that's a good question. Well, AI bots, notwithstanding, they have a place. It was a good start. Let's put it
Okay.
that way. It was a good start to fill the gap of not having something there to help your visitors. I always look at it like this. Would you send people to your office if you just had a brochure laying on the counter? You know what I mean? Think about it. So you're sending people to your website and you're expecting them to find what they're looking for. That doesn't work. But having an AI bot, at least you can get questions answered. Okay. Okay, that's here. Okay. Where we are is, let me point there, you see there we were at the top there. Where we are is we do like four additional things that solve the major problem, the conversion crisis, and that is we have a personable avatar that talks to you intelligently, just like a person would. She's trained on how to sell. We have three knowledge bases in every one of our avatars. One is about the business, the mission statement about us that knows everything about the business. Also, we have, there's every business has every business is basically the same. If you're a dentist, a lawyer, or whatever it is, we have the full knowledge base of that industry. So, in other words, any questions you have, she knows those questions. And lastly, excuse me, excuse me. And lastly, she she gets you. She knows how to use sales tools in order to entice you to get to that, whether it's a lead magnet or any of those things. And not that a bot can't do that particularly, but at the end of the day, you don't have a connection with a bot. It's text. You're texting a bot. You're not interacting like with a real person, and that's where it differentiates itself from a typical bot. We focus on solving a problem and getting a sale. That's the bottom line.
Love that. Okay, that's good. I mean, and it actually saves you from the time from typing. I mean, like if I'm just talking, I love that. That's even better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding. It saves time and frustration. You come to a website. Oh, they've got tests.
Mhm.
I want I like Tess. Tess. And not only that, we are also setting our program up for businesses that they can have Tess as a customer service. So in other words, you would have a web page that once they're sold and they're a customer, they can go to Tess anytime and see an update on their account or whatever questions they might have. So the business doesn't have to have customer service on the phone. They can have Tess answering those questions.
Got it. Okay, well this is really good.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So for our listeners who are listening out there and they're like, okay, Test sounds pretty cool. I I
hmm
I, I kind of would like to explore a little bit more. Where can they go to see like a more of a demo or more, or how can they contact you, or to know more about tests and kind of find out about like your price points, if you have different packages or levels
Right,
or
right. And every business is different, and because we have testimonials and we have so many variables, there's just not one size fits all, if you will. If you just want tests, great, we'll just give you tests, without all the extras. But there's variables in there that will help depending on the business, if you're a mortgage company, you want the pre-interview, but maybe a dentist doesn't need a pre-interview. They don't need that, but actually they do. They want to know what's going on before they even see you. But aside from that, let's start that with um, the problem. Um, Getting back to your question, how to get a hold of them? Well, some businesses are skeptical. Okay, they don't believe in AI. Okay, so they need to overcome that phobia that AI is an enemy because AI is their friend. Okay, and the best to know that is I wrote a book called The AI Powered Business. They can get a free copy of it so they can understand just how AI can enhance their business, save them money, get them more qualified leads, and have somebody that will work pennies on the dollar and get better results. Because let's face it, employees have bad days, they get sick, all this kind of stuff. Tess doesn't, and she can wear so many hats, if you will.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
go to freeaibook.info, freeaibook.info, and you get a free copy of that book. Okay. So that will just educate them a little bit more. Secondly, if they want to know if they have a problem with their website, the bounce rate, how their form would do, or there's 15 different touch points that they can get on a free report. Go to freemobilereport.com. That's freemobilereport.com, and I'll give you a special code. Yes, one. Okay, yes, one would be the special code because it takes a special code in there and they can use that. That's good for a month. So, yes, one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's a win-win because you're providing all the information that they need to know, all the tools. I mean, like,
All the tools. And she'll be there when you get your report and you see your report. Tess will be there to explain any questions you have on that report. So
oh,
freemobilereport.com, yes one when it asks you for your code, and put in how much money you're spending on advertising or pay per click or whatever it is, and it'll tell you what you're losing by not having the right AI tools in place.
okay, good to
Hmm.
know. Oh, wow. And so, wow, so this is great stuff. And if there is another question that I did want to ask you. What if a customer, for those customers out there that are just, I know that you're providing all the tools, but they're just saying, well, this is going to replace employees. AI is just replacing people and all that. And I know that when the automobile was created, I mean, we had all these replacements, people have to move with the times. But for that person that's out there and saying, no, I'm a little hesitant, kind of advice you can give them, like
Well,
in releasing that hesitation, you know?
Well, it's interesting. I always go back to the old microwave. How many people were skeptical of microwaves? Now they come in every house, you buy one, right? Radiation, I mean, and now it's interesting. I have two great friends, and I got a deal on these Alexa speakers, if you will. They weren't the Alexa brand. It was an off-brand. I've had mine for 4 years and it works great. But anyway, I gave them to them and they gave. That was Alexa, by the way. Yeah, and they said no, no, I don't want to put it in my house. It'll listen to me and and know my secrets and
Oh, yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
all that stuff. Well, that all turned out not to be true. And I said, okay, I love mine. I rely on it all the time. What's the weather like today? Da, 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 whatever it is,
Right.
So my answer is get the free copy of the book because it addresses that. Okay, that's freeaibook.info, and read about AI and how it can integrate with your business so you can understand just how powerful it is. And you want to take it a step further, just go to Google, whatever business you're in, just go to Google and say AI dentist results report, case study. Case study. So you want to use case study, your industry and results. How AI, and you'll get case studies. On AI, so they can actually see what other business, how AI is helping other businesses, if you
Mm,
will. So, if they want to take it a step further, you can do
right.
that. So, but everybody's going to be skeptical in the beginning. But here's what I say, and I'm not saying this to put fear in you. I'm saying it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you'll go out of business if you don't use AI. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, it's just the way it is.
it is.
You're either going to accept the future or you're going to live in the past. Bottom line. And right now, AI is moving so fast. It's going to be $1 trillion industry by 2030, and it's about an $8 billion industry right now in the business sector, if you will. So, you know,
So it's better to kind of like see the world is just moving on. AI is moving on. So either you
right,
jump on the bandwagon or just kind of be left behind. If you're left behind,
right,
you're going to be out of luck. You're like
right.
what is that saying? Up a creek
A
without
creek
a
with
path.
not a paddle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what at the end of the day. So
You'll
yes.
be getting spanked with the paddle. No.
I love that. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because for the last 25, 30 years, people have always complained, ad agencies, marketing companies, the results keep dwindling and dwindling. They go, we're doing the same thing. Why aren't we getting the same results? And now here's a solution that can change that and make it go the other way. And everybody's going, oh, no, I'm not saying everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they just got to, they got to see it, they got to feel it, they got to, just like kicking the tires and whatever. And once they embrace it, I think once, I'm going to be producing a new show called AI for Business. Just ask AI for Business, and uh, anybody's welcome to answer, and AI will answer all their questions on the show. So
I love that. That's interesting.
that will be coming up in the next month. So I'm
Okay.
just I'm right on the tail end of development right now, of getting out the bugs. But it's going to be a wonderful thing. There's so many things that we want to help people with. Give you another example. Google Maps, if you're familiar,
Hmm.
every business should have a business profile on Google Maps. And you know what Google Maps is on
Hmm.
Google?
Yes.
Okay, you go to your phone, there's a map there. If you're going for a dentist, there's 12, 15 different dentists in that area, and you can see them on the map. And that's a Google profile. Well, people don't know this, but the more reviews you have, the higher you come up on the food chain. So,
Hmm.
and they're looking. I'm talking 1,000, 1,500 reviews. I'm not talking four or five.
Right.
So they should have a procedure in place to get reviews. Well, we have a product coming out where it's an AI interview where you can give your customers a QR code or a link, and they can interview themselves and talk about their experience with the dentist or whatever. And it's being interviewed by her. She's the host. So she's asking the questions. And then when it's all done, it'll publish those reviews not only to Google Profile, it'll publish it to YouTube. So now you've got all these reviews, and you can use your
Nice.
reviews on your website too, with Tess on your website.
Oh, that's nice. So I can get actually all my reviews of all my guests that have been on here. Oh, love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a game
yeah.
changer. Let me tell you, because that is a game changer for many businesses, like restaurant businesses, and it makes it so much easier. Because I know that there are times I'm one that does reviews. I like to just like review, especially if I've had a really good experience.
Right.
Especially those new owned businesses, because I want them to have good traction. So I do go in and do reviews, and I take pictures. Yeah, I'm one of those. I take pictures.
That's
But
fine. Sure.
yeah, it's fun. But if I had like tests where I could just simply have that interaction, it takes
Right.
away from that typing with my phone because I usually use my phone on this. I don't go on my computer, my laptop, but I usually use my phone. It makes it so much easier. So I do see all the possibilities of all how this makes so many businesses easier.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah.
that I think it will be a game changer, that itself. When I had a review company, I developed a a referral software that allowed businesses to send a link to their customers that would share the link with their friends, and they could, get an incentive to give, to refer them and all that kind of thing. But it was done with email. I mean, it was a great, it worked if they'd use it, and that's the problem. Well, with this, all they need to do is hand out a card with a QR code, or, and say, we really appreciate, your review, and people will say, oh, wow, Tess is there and she's interviewing them right on their phone. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I'm just giving your viewers, ways where AI can be the game changer, as you said. It is a game changer, and
Yeah.
you won't find that anywhere else,
Yeah,
honestly.
and I have an idea for any of our Chinese restaurants or Korean, Japanese. 'Cause I love Korean. I love sushi and I love egg rolls and I
Hmm.
love Chinese food and all. If
Hmm.
you're listening and you decide to go with Tess, if they fill out the form, you get a free egg roll or you get a free sushi thing. You
There
know,
you, there you go.
wouldn't do it. You're like,
Exactly,
okay,
and Tess can be the one to say, you know what, fill out the form and you'll get a free egg roll.
yeah,
I mean, and that's the I didn't even get into that. We were going. That's a whole different program. I've also got a referral program that will be launching. That AI will be on the back end of all their friends and say, John just referred you, and you thought you'd be really interested in a free, sushi or whatever, So AI, see again, AI, that AI assistance. Now that we have Tess, she can do everything in all these facets and support all of that.
love
Yeah,
that. It's great.
yeah.
Brett, it's such a pleasure and so refreshing to hear this perspective and hearing the developer that's designing and doing all this. And I want to thank you for actually coming on Life and In
You're very
Between.
welcome. No,
And
it's been a
and
pleasure. Yeah.
it's truly been a pleasure. And for our listeners out there, if you're in that in between moment when I say between technology, where you're using the dinosaur technology, move with the times, stop being in that in between and move forward. Reach out to Brett. I mean, come on, like and so I also want to say, Brett, thank you for trusting Life and In Between by coming on here and talking about your wonderful product. I think it's fantastic.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
any final words, any final messages to our listeners out there that you would like to share? I mean, because
Mhm.
we could talk for hours,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, because there's
What's your
so
phone
many.
number?
Yeah, we can unpack so much. I mean, we could do
Yeah.
multiple episodes and all that. However,
Let's save the world with AI, right? Yeah.
exactly.
For any listeners out there, I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to help you understand the value and the power of AI. And that's why I give away a free book. I've done a lot of research on AI, and, my life has been AI for the last 4 years. Because when I first saw it, I knew it was the future, and I'm reading about it and so on and so forth. And and unfortunately, a lot of companies out there are making it too complicated. They're too complicated. And what we're trying to do is simplify it for you. You have a liaison. She knows everything about your business. She knows how to sell. What do you want her to do? What do you want? You want to lead? You want her to call? She'll make it happen. She'll make it happen at least 50% more of the time than you're getting now, if not 100% more. So we say we can get you 300% more conversion. And when we're saying that, that's what they're saying about an AI bot. So I mean, a typical AI bot doesn't even compare to what we're doing right now. So, if you're not getting enough business from your website, take a look at AI, read the book, go check out your website on freemobilereport.com, and you'll see, and that's yes one, by the way, again, and you'll see for yourself where you have limitations and how AI can fill the gap.
Love that. Thank you. All right. I just want to say that this has been very informative. I've learned so much. I
Oh,
am ready
good.
to go onto the page and just order and get that free book because I want to learn more about AI, you know?
There you go.
Yes.
I
So
think everybody should. Let's have a party.
yes, I agree. So everyone, please don't miss this opportunity because let me tell you, you are going to learn and grow with this. And there's nothing bad about that. I mean, in fact, it's going to benefit you. I did also want to go ahead and tell our listeners, if you know of anyone, if you heard this, say, oh, this would be great for so and so, please share this video, forward it, share it, anyone that you may know that may benefit from this. And I think everyone will benefit from this, but just go ahead and share, like, comment. If you have any comments, comment, and I'm sure Brett will read those comments and answer anything. If you have any questions for Brett or even for myself, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And then I also, one last final message to our listeners. Please subscribe, like, share, and I want to say one last final thing. Peace and love.
It's all about love, baby. Okay. Nice to see you, Diana. Thanks for having me on your show. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Talk to you soon.